Hi, my name is Ben Sutter III, and I'm founder and owner of BS3 Radio. I've been podcasting for 5 years, and with BS3 Radio, it has grown to over 46,000 listens and downloads. I've helped hundreds of people to start a podcast by giving them the knowledge, tools, and confidence to be successful. Now I'm here to help you do the same with BS3 Coaching. So let's build a successful podcast. I will be your podcast coach. We'll be able to work one-on-one. I won't be giving you a booklet and just telling you to look over it, but we'll be working one-on-one, side by side, to either help build up a successful podcast or to take your podcast to the next level. So click the link above or below to check out the pricing. I look forward to working with you, and God bless. All right. Welcome, everyone, to Reaction Monday, the day after the Super Bowl, which we'll be recapping Super Bowl 55. Some people had predictions. Some people was right. Some people were wrong. I'll go ahead and say it right now. I was wrong in my prediction. Gentleman that's in the chat room right now, Vernon Ricks, a.k.a. Chief Rocker. He was correct on his prediction. I'm going to give him his shout out right now. So we'll be recapping Super Bowl 55. We'll have some great guests coming on. We'll have A-Trap B. We'll have Courtney Harden. We'll also have Ivan Dawkins, and we'll have David Wilks. And we'll be talking about Super Bowl from beginning to end. So the pregame, the halftime show, the commercials, everything. Before we do that, I will be recapping week 12 of the Creating Young Minds Undiscovered League. It is a pro basketball league. They're playing down here in Texas, in Louisville, and they play with a group of young men. So some of them are men, some of them are grown men, former pro players, some that have played in the G League, some that have played in different areas. So it's a pretty amazing league, and a lot of these guys play in what's called the TBL, which is called the Basketball League. It's the third-ranked league in basketball, and they are some ballers, man. No doubt. We got highlights on deck for tonight, so make sure to keep it locked, and then we will get into our next segment as we will talk about the Super Bowl in about 30 minutes. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and watching. Chief Rocker, thank you for coming through. Miss Mocha Bella, thank you for coming through as well. I know that's not your team. I know the Bucks aren't your team, but at least it's a Florida team. And Darlene April, thank you for coming through. So let's get into week 12 of the Creating Young Minds Undiscovered League. Again, if you want to check out any of the games, you can check it out down below. The next game set of games will be on Sunday from 12 to 4. You'll be able to check it out with the link down below. You can see that. creatingyoungminds.uscreen.io. Shout out to my man Tracy Porter. Thank you for coming through. April Showers on Spreaker. Thank you. I appreciate that. So let's get into it, man. We had 3 games. 2 of them were, I'm not going to say blowouts, but it was a considerable lead, and it wasn't close. The third game was really close, and I was really impressed with how both of those teams played. But as we get into the first game, shout out to Key C. Ingram, my man, X Squad Radio. Learned a lot from him. Excuse me. So we had the Undiscovered team versus the Underdogs. Let me give a big shout out to Shemaine Thomas. Shemaine Thomas was getting it going early with key shots. He ended up having 15 at the end of the game. The Undiscovered team, they're undefeated. They play at the beginning of all of these Sunday games because I believe they're the best team. And you got to put the best team in first. You got to put them up there first. You cannot put them in there second or third or anything else. So they continue to play well. Starting off the game, Tremaine Thomas with a 3. A guy that is one of the best players in this league, which is Damian Durham. We call him Damian the Dream Durham. He has not played in the past couple of weeks. And my question was, how good will this team be without him? And I have to say, they still played extremely well. Jared Jetpack J. Also, Balsha Bolsevic was another guy, was very, very instrumental in the win yesterday. If you are tuning in, we are streaming on a lot of platforms right now, Facebook, the Facebook page, the Facebook group, YouTube, and also Twitter. If you are watching in the Facebook group, I will need you to click a link so that we can see your name. It'll just say Facebook user unless if you click that link, and you'll have to set up and follow a couple steps. But thank you for tuning in. I appreciate the shout out. Lucas Gunn, thank you for coming through over on the YouTube side. We are monetized here at BS3 Radio now. So if you want to support us, there's a little $ down below. You can give whatever amount you want and to show support with super chat, super stickers. We appreciate that. We appreciate that love. All right. So no Damian Durham. And I was wondering how well this team is going to be. And if you don't know who Damian Durham is, he averages about 30 points a game. He dropped 50 the first game that I tuned into. The first game I was covering, he dropped 50. And he has the most 3-pointers for Cal State Bakersfield out of California, obviously. And he's one of the top shooters. So as the game is getting going early, it's 16-4. Undiscovered on a big run. Let me give a shout out to Biggie. He is his name is Ada Nasser, and his nickname is Biggie because he's 7 foot tall. One of the best players in this league. Very developmental. He's getting better and better every single game as we go along. But he played, I believe, he played 2 games during yesterday, and I felt like he was playing extremely well. He was hustling on both ends of the floor. And, you know, what more can you ask for out of your big man? He's 7 feet tall, and he is plays physical. And actually, he played 2 games out of the 3. And a lot of these guys do double duty. Some of them play multiple games. There's some that do commentating. They're extremely talented, and this league comes together. So click the link down below or go to the link down below. You can check it out. Or go to creatingyoungminds.org. And what they do is they help build up young men through basketball. And they give them life skills. They give them things that they can do outside of basketball and also help them in different ways. Yeah, Tracy Porter, 30 points a game. Mocha Bella, thank you for coming through on the YouTube side. I appreciate that. Give us a thumbs up and a comment, and also click that bell. All the content that we'll be putting out. All right, so let's get back into the game. Chase Winchester, that's one of those sweet lefty J's that he has. He was making some key shots throughout the game. They call this guy Jetpack J. You'll see some highlights from him in just a minute. But his name is Jared Henderson. He's got hops out of the gym. It's no joke. Anytime, any highlight, you're probably going to see him dunking on somebody. And one thing I do like about the Undiscovered team, and really all of these teams that are coached by Mathis Crowder, he's also the CEO and he's the co-founder of Creating Young Minds, is they play trap defense the entire game. They are running the entire game, and it shows with their with the way that they're able to run up and down. The other team is pretty much worn out. So it's really a running gun type team that all of the teams that are coached. So that full court D, man, I just put OMG, man, all up and down the floor. It's hard to guard them no matter what you do. And it's hard to be able to make buckets and get shots. Darius Tyburn with some nice moves. He played 2 games yesterday as well. And like I said, these guys are playing multiple games. They have a love for basketball. That's what they truly have, and they're trying to get opportunities outside of the country or in the NBA and the G League. They're just looking for opportunities. So you go into the second half. Let me give a shout out to Brandon McElvey. He played a game on Saturday, and he was doing commentating. So these guys are doing some of both. Shout out to James Montgomery. Thank you for coming through. Co-host of the Ear Hustling podcast. They do an amazing job. Variety of topics, covering from sports to Black History Month to a variety, talent show. I mean, you name it, they'll do it. And they do a great job. Him and Eric Smith are the co-hosts of the Ear Hustling podcast. Jonathan Daniels also played a variety of games, 2 games. He was playing well. A nice and one dunk by Trey Patterson. It was hard to keep up with this undiscovered team. The best combo in this CYM Undiscovered League. I'm going to give you 2 names. His name is Balsa Bolshevik and Jarrett Jetpack J. Henderson. The best combo, forward/guards, getting rebounds. They're normally leading the teams in rebounds. At the end of the day, the Undiscovered team won 86-59. They were playing against a team called the Underdogs, which was a new team. So as this league's going on, there's new teams coming in each time, and they just couldn't run with them. So we're going to get to some highlights here. And also the Undiscovered team is undefeated throughout this time. I'm not sure their exact record, but they have to be at least 15-0, just going back and forth. So let's get to the highlights. That's one of my favorite parts of this segment. So this first one is a jumper by Balsa versus the Underdogs. Got that nice lean-in jumper right there. A nice swish. And this is Biggie. His name, like I said, as his nickname, he's 7 foot tall, 7'8" wingspan. Here is him dunking with a nice assist. And that assist was a very nice assist. I'm going to pull up the name of the gentleman that gave that assist. I thought I had that written down. But here goes another highlight, another dunk by Biggie out of Nasser. That's how you do it, man. When you're a big man, which nowadays some big men will try to stand at the three-point line. That's not what his MO is. He plays down low. He gets rebounds. He is physical, and you see with that highlight. The first highlight, that was an assist by Charles Rambo. So shout out to him. Here is Trey Patterson with a nice, clean dunk right here. That's what the kids like to say. He caught a body. Okay, you're on a poster. That's what that was right there. And that was with a steal, an acrobatic steal, and then he dunks on the guy. Doesn't get any better than that. Here goes Jared Henderson. I mentioned his name earlier with a nice putback. And he got fouled, so he was able to put that back in. So let's get to game 2. Game 2 was Creating Young Minds. This is another team, CYM, versus the Pros. Now, the Pros is a very talented team. They have former pro players. One of them is CJ Carter. He used to play for the Knicks. He also played for the Texas Legends in the G League. Also, they have a guy, his name is Yash Matu. Now, he's not a former pro player, but he put up buckets this last game. Before I go any further, let me go back to the first game. Jared Henderson had 28 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. Jermaine Thomas, he was balling, 15 points, 6 assists, 2 steals. Lewis Trey Patterson, anybody with the nickname Trey, I got love for that person. That's my nickname. I'm the third as well. He had 23 points, 6 assists, or 6 steals, excuse me. And then Chase Winchester was 7 points, 7 assists, 2 rebounds, 6 steals. That's what goes to that pressure defense. When you're playing pressure defense, when you're pressing, this turnovers are going to end up happening. That's just the way it is. Charles Rambo had 22 points, 4 rebounds. Ada Nasser had 10 points, 5 blocks. Actually, 4 points, 10 rebounds, 5 blocks. Then Darius Tabern had 15. So that was game 1. As we get more into game 2, CJ Carter starting to get it going. Former pro player. Like I said, he worked out with Kobe Bryant, the late, great Kobe Bryant. Thank you for tuning in over in the Facebook group. You do have to click a link, StreamYard.com/Facebook, so that I can see your name. But thank you for coming through. I appreciate you. And Michael Lenore. Michael Lenore, this guy is 6 foot, and he is one of the most physical guys on the floor. You're going to see a highlight from him where he basically gets his own rebound in the middle of the hole with a bunch of guys taller than him, and he just muscles the rebound away and puts it up. Also, Marcus Brooks. Shout out to Marcus Brooks, one of those guys that's also a baller. He was playing well. Jermaine Thomas, again, going off. He was playing back-to-back games. You know you're a real, true baller. That's why I say ballers in the building whenever I promote the games. It's because they will play multiple games, and that means you love playing basketball. It means you're not doing it for money. Obviously, you do want to make a name for yourself, but they're doing it because they love the game. I appreciate that, Kesey. Everyone in the Facebook group, be sure to give StreamYard consent to share your name. I appreciate you for putting that so people can see. I believe that's Deacon Dale that's commenting on as a Facebook user, so I appreciate you if that is you. It was a nice alley-oop by Malcolm Oakes to CJ Carter. And they played well. At halftime, it was 34-21. CYM was up. And, when it came down to it, the pros were just not having a good week. Normally they're in the games. They're close in games, and they're normally about to win the game, but it just seemed like they were having a tough time, and they just couldn't get it going. You could tell. It was hard. The pros coming back in the third, it was 48-40. CYM, CJ Carter with a nice 3. Then the pros go on a 13-2 run. Again, shout out to this guy, Yash Matu. He is 18 years old, playing with grown men. A lot of these guys are, like I said, extremely young, playing against grown men, getting buckets. Like that gives you so much confidence that you want to continue to come back and play, and you want to continue to make a name for yourself against grown men, being 18 years old. So CYM ends up winning the game. Michael Lenore with a long 3 to pretty much seal the deal. But let's get into the highlights. We got one from Yash Matu, and we got a couple of other ones. So hold tight. This first one is baseline. Nice baseline drive by Jermaine Thomas. You gotta be quicker. Number 42, you got to be quicker. As soon as he got that ball, he was gone. There was no catching him. This is Yash Matu with a nice 3. That stroke right there. I remember I used to do that a long time ago, back in high school. But that stroke, the nice J right there. This one here is Michael Lenore. like I said, he missed his shot. He's 6 foot tall. When you watch his highlight, you can tell he's shorter than everybody else.
Yeah, nice finish, Mark.
Everybody else just standing around. I'm like, you just gonna let the guy run up and get the rebound and then just put it back. But he's a hustler. He's a true point guard and just one of those guys that play extremely well. And then here goes CJ Carter, former NBA, former New York Knick, with a nice 3 in the corner. And both of those assists were by Aldrich Hills, number 40. And that's a point guard too. That's a true point guard as well. He wasn't really having a good shooting day, but he was able to get his teammates involved. And you could tell that he was the point guard because CJ Carter was yelling at him like, I'm ready, I'm open. He was like, I see you. And he gives him that pass, and then, the rest is history. Nice jumper. So let's get to the stat lines for game number 2. Michael Lenore, he was also an NBA draft prospect for 2020. He had 19 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds. Balsa Bolshevik, like I said, man, he's one of the best rebounders in this league. He played 2 games. He had 10 points, 17 rebounds. Marcus Brooks, 11 and 7. Shemaine Thomas playing again with 11. Lewis Patterson with 14 points. And then Yasha Matu, like I said, 18 years old, dropping 20 against grown men and older. CJ Carter with 15 and Donta Smith with 6. And one of the major highlights from yesterday, if you're a young man playing in this league, you want to make a name for yourself, like I mentioned. And there was a pro scout that was there. His name is Rashad Phillips. And he made a post on Instagram, and also what he said is that some of these guys can play in the G League and in leagues around the world right now. And it's a true statement. Some of these guys stand out above the rest, and you can clearly see it throughout these games. So the last game of the day, which I don't have any highlights from that one, but I will give you my takes and assessment on it. Louisville Black versus the Prospects. And these names of teams are guys that have kind of created their own teams and come into this league. Again, Biggie, I'm going to mention some of the same names because these are some of the same guys that have been playing all day long. And Biggie played 3 games today, or 2 games, so big ups to him. But he was nice scoring, nice with the rebounds, also nice assists, playing physical. I got a lot of respect for him. Marcus Brooks also played well. And I was really looking to see if Terrell Jones was going to get active. He's a nice player in this league. So next week, I want you guys to watch. Now, I know it's on Valentine's Day. So I guess I would say if you single, maybe you can watch. But you can tune in the week after if you're not able to tune in this week. And March the 6th will be the games after the 14th. And you can find them right down below at that link. Or if you're in Louisville or in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you can watch the games live. But it was a very low-scoring game, 12-10 in the first quarter. Not very high. But the big name of the day was Kevin Booz. And I got a nickname for him now, Kevin Big Shot Booz, because he was hitting so many jumpers in key moments of the game that's what helped them end up winning eventually. I was tied up at the half, 26-26. Marcus Brooks, again, one of those guys getting buckets. Brandon McElvey, the guy that was doing commentating the other game, he played this game. And he was going back and forth, getting threes between him and another guy named Donathan Daniels. So they were playing well. It was 46-51 in the fourth, so it was getting really, really close. But at the end of the day, Kevin Big Shot Booz had a big 3, had a big layup, sealed the deal. They end up winning 56-55. And they played extremely well down the stretch. That's what you have to do when you're playing basketball, period. You got to finish the game out, and that's exactly what they did. So Kevin Booz had 17 points. Marcus Brooks had 17. Abraham Davalos had 19. And then Rick Curry, 8 points, 8 rebounds. I like his post game. So that was week 12 of the Creating Young Minds Undiscovered League. Next week, guess what? We're going to do week 13. And that's the day after Valentine's Day. We're also going to have a group of guys coming on here shortly. So as we transition, make sure to tune in to the link down below next Sunday or March the 6th. You can check it out. But how did you enjoy the Super Bowl? As we transition to our next topic, we will have, like I said, H-Rap B, David Wilks, Ivan Dawkins, and we will have Courtney Harden. They'll be coming on here momentarily. But we'll be talking about the commercials. You can see some of the commercials behind me. We'll also be talking about the halftime show, the pre-show, and the game as a whole. So this is going to be very fun. I've been looking forward to this all day. But the Tampa Bay Bucks are Super Bowl champs. Now, I get it. There was a lot of missed calls on both sides, but I am going to say off the rip, the Chiefs, if you continue to hold that many times, number one, there's a problem. And number two, you're putting yourself in position to lose the game. The second thing is Patrick Mahomes had 0 time to throw the ball. Zero time to throw the ball. Now, he did not have his offensive line. He did not have Eric Fisher, which is his left tackle. And it showed. It frankly showed that he did not have the offensive line that he had throughout the year. And, shout out to my guy, Will Walker. He has a show called Will's Take on Sports. And he mentioned the title of his show is You Can't Throw from Your Back, or You Can't Throw While You're on the Ground. And the fact that Patrick Mahomes was still able to get some of these throws out with him falling to the ground, throwing the ball sideways. That just shows how athletic he is. He was dealing with the turf toe injury. It was a lot of factors. It was truly not their day. And it was home field advantage. Like that's no lie. Home field advantage is a real thing. And they played this entire game in Tampa Bay, and obviously you're going to get some calls in your favor, and this is a storybook finish. So conspiracy theorists, you have a real legit point. If it's no better situation for the NFL than to have Tom Brady win his 7th Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Bucks in Tampa Bay. So I get it. But this was not Kansas City's night. It just was not. And they could not get anything going. They end up kicking 3 field goals. Now, you cannot tell me that is a recipe for winning a game. You can't tell me that. Tracy Porter says PIs definitely hurt the Kansas City Chiefs. I agree. So let's bring in a couple of our co-hosts as people are coming in. We got H-Rap B in the building. Sir, what's going on?
What's good? What's good?
We got Mr. Birthday here. David Wilks, what's going on?
What's going on?
Man, the big 25, huh?
Oh yeah, you know it. Still holding on.
Nice.
Showing some of that shrimp and that shrimp and steak that you made tonight.
Oh, that's just something I had in the back of the freezer, man. Don't worry about that.
Shout out to Jackie Tate. Thank you for coming through, Jim and Jackie. She has a podcast on Spreaker. So as people are coming in, we have A-Trap, we got David Wilks. We'll also have 2 other people coming in just a minute. Ivan Dawkins coming in right now. Let's get the whole. I see you. I'm rocking the Cowboys too.
Here we go.
I figured this the only way we're gonna get to the Super Bowl, so I might as well get us close.
This is the only time. Unless we get Tom Brady on our team. I don't know if y'all seen those memes going around. And that's Tom Brady's next assignment, next challenge.
It ain't happening.
I know.
Man, they got to trade the whole team.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into the initial overview of the game. What's the initial thoughts? A lot of people, the conspiracy theories, which I understand. It's in Tampa. It's Tom Brady. This is the 7th. It's a storybook finish. But it honestly, it was not Kansas City's night. That's just, at the end of the day, that's what the storyline is. The storyline to me is not the refs. The storyline is that Patrick Mahomes had 0 time to throw the ball, and that's his whole game.
Right.
So, A-Trap, I'm gonna go to you first. Just give me your overall overview of what you thought.
Well, what happened to me is Andy Reid happened. For whatever reason, Andy Reid refuses to run the football as usual in the playoffs. And you get the same results. You get the exact same results. Andy Reid don't want to run the football. And when Andy Reid doesn't want to run the football, Andy Reid gets to the big game and does not win. We saw Williams and Clyde Hilaire doing what they wanted to do, even though that line was shaky. If he'd have kept running the ball, they would have did exactly what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did, was set up the play action, and then you got to slow down. Being a former defender, you just can't rush in when you got a running game to deal with. Andy Reid happened.
Yeah, and the fact is, and I'm gonna let Ivan kind of touch on this. The fact is, his son was just involved in a car accident. And you're human. You can't tell me that that did not affect him one bit, because I believe it did. And you're going through this, the biggest game on the biggest stage. You really don't have your full team, which you had throughout the season. So that kind of affected. But let me bring in our last guest here, Courtney Harden. What's going on?
What's good, y'all? What's good, fellas? How y'all doing?
Right.
Good.
All right. So Dawkins, I'm gonna go to you next. Give me your kind of overall take.
Well, first of all, I appreciate somebody else using a government name on this podcast. People have been looking directly at me, so now Courtney will get some of the love. But Andy Reid's son, Britt Reid, was involved in a car crash where 3 people, including children that were ages 5 and 4, were injured, and the 5-year-old suffered some serious life-threatening injuries. So and Britt Reid was on the staff. So it wasn't just the coach's son, it was also a member of the organization. So the theory is that, of course, being humans, they were probably a bit distracted by this, considering that somebody could lose their life, Right. And if I'm not mistaken, Andy Reid also had some problems with one of his kids when he was in Philly, another one of his sons, if I'm not mistaken, So this was the one good son left, I think. I'm just saying.
Maybe.
I'm just kidding on that, child. But yeah, it was an issue for sure.
Definitely. Let's give some more shout outs. We got Big Illinois in the building. I love his Ivy, which is show enough. That's Bruce Leroy, the last dragon. Miss Powell, thank you for coming through. We appreciate you. Front Ground Records, which is DJ Knox. Thank you for coming through. Everybody got a nickname, Just Joe. For Joe from Houston, thank you for coming through as well. Appreciate all the comments. All right, Courtney, I'm going to bring it to you. Give me your initial take on the Super Bowl.
Man, wasn't expecting that. That whipping, man.
Yeah.
From Tampa Bay, man. I was not expecting. I picked the Chiefs to win, but I picked it as a close game. I thought it was going to – about both teams, they both got great offenses, so I thought both teams would actually score some points. I had picked the Chiefs to win 31-27. Just because of what they have on offense. I figured any lead that they, if they go down, we've seen it multiple times the last couple of years. They come back and they finish the job. So when Tampa Bay jumped ahead, I thought like, okay, this feels a little bit different. Like these guys, Tampa Bay is physical. Like they are physical. Like they up front, they getting right to Mahomes. I mean, they making him look human. So I think that was one of the biggest takes from that. And you guys were talking about Andy Reid when I jumped on. I know all too well, being an Eagles fan, with the conservative Andy Reid sometimes. That's what it was for a lot of years, being an Eagles fan. We're like, this guy gets a one-track mind sometimes. It's like he want to just pass the ball. It's like, got to try to run the football. Even if your offensive line is getting torn up, you still got to try to at least establish a little bit of the run. But he said, I got the best player in the league back there in Patrick Mahomes. Let me just see. He's Superman. I can just let him just do his thing. And it just didn't work out. Tampa Bay, I mean, credit to them, just dominating on both sides of the football as well. And I think as right now, I think there's no debate, at least for me, Tom Brady's the GOAT. I think that's hands down, at least the GOAT quarterback of all time. This guy's got 7 Super Bowls. He did it again at 43. We have never seen this in the NFL. So I think those are my takes on what really happened in the Super Bowl. Okay.
All right. And I made a post yesterday saying, man, was I wrong? Because I was all in on the Chiefs. I was on the Chiefs bandwagon. I was a Chiefs fan for one day. I really like Patrick Mahomes. I like what he stands for. I like, the family structure, and he's from Texas, so that's a connection there. But honestly, it just was not their night, and they couldn't do anything right. Tyreek Hill had one catch, I believe, for 13 yards, and that was early in the game. I think that was in the third quarter or second half. But that's not what their MO is. They don't win games like that. Tyreek Hill has to be involved. Travis Kelce has to be involved. Le'Veon Bell, I don't know if he was hurt, but I don't even think he touched the field at all.
No.
So that's a whole nother story. So let's go to the pregame, which I'm going to say, man, I watched every last minute. I think from the time that came on, I was watching it. My daughter was watching it. She didn't really want to watch it. And my wife was watching it, but we was all like, hey, we're all in for the Super Bowl. By the time it got there, my wife was like on the phone, like, okay, I don't watch enough pregame, so I may be. But it was well worth it. So let's get to the pre, which her did the. She didn't do the national anthem. She did
America the Beautiful.
America the Beautiful, which I thought was amazing. She is so talented, and she's from Vallejo. I'm originally from California, so shout out to the Cali people. But she did an amazing job with that. Jasmine Sullivan with the Star Springer, but the national anthem. And they did this whole reel of Whitney Houston. So I'm thinking, okay, don't try to be someone else. Just do your thing. And I think she did her thing. They had Eric Church up there too, which I don't know if you necessarily needed that part of it. I would rather, honestly, not to have had that part. But anyway,
wow,
I would have been okay with this Jasmine Sullivan,
right?
He's good at a guitar and all that, but I would rather just have had the vocals. But I'm gonna go to Ivan. I'm gonna go to you first. What was your thoughts on the songs at the beginning?
Yeah, her is flat out amazing, and everything she touches, man. That's my girl. We all got that playlist, if you know what I'm saying. Maybe you don't be into married men, may not, but I got that playlist. and her is all over it, So yeah, she's definitely banging, the guitar. She I don't know if you paid attention, but she did in her guitar solo, she did a little nod to Jimi Hendrix on that when he did America the Beautiful. So she was jamming, and of course Jasmine Sullivan just flat out can sing. She can't sing, she can sing. Right? Yeah. And I thought Eric Church being there, I thought that was a nice little touch. We trying to bring the country together, Ben. Hey, number one, he can play a guitar pretty doggone good himself. He get a little twangy every now and then, but he played the guitar. We just trying to come together as a people, man. Come on.
Hey, look, I just needed the mic to the guitar. I didn't need the mic up here. Okay? If you just want to play and let her sing, I'm all good with that. But I thought it was put well together, so I'm not gonna hate on Eric Church. I don't know that much about him. All right, Wilks, I go to you. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. Of course, I immediately thought about Marvin Gaye and his rendition of, how he covered the national anthem, and then of course when her was out there with her rendition, of just owning the moment and just making it hers. I thought it was really good. Even though I did kind of zone out, I ain't gonna lie, I zoned out on Eric Church. I didn't know what was going on there. Sorry. I apologize. I was like, oh, okay. Wake me up. But anyway, no, I thought it was real good. I didn't have any much gripe. I thought it was good. Sometimes I get a little cringy because some people forget the words or they're not in sync. It was kind of like, okay, well, I'm good. I can breathe now. I can turn it back up because I'll turn it down if I get worried.
If they go Fergie on you, you gotta change the channel and come back.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, man. I don't know. But yeah, all in all, I thought it was great. I thought it was good.
Now, and Marvin Gaye, look, everybody that's watching this right now, your homework assignment until next week is to go look up Marvin Gaye's rendition of the national anthem. That is the best. That is the smoothest I've ever heard, with shades on. With I don't really even care. Like, I'm just singing this because I feel like it. I mean, that's how he was singing the song. That was so smooth. Yeah. But A-Trap,
Oh no, I was saying that is number one. That's it. That's all I was saying.
On America the Beautiful, though, while you're there, go ahead and look at Ray Charles' version of that.
Oh yeah.
And have your box of tissues with you, because I promise you, your allergies gonna start acting up on you.
All right, A-Trap, you had anything you want to add on to that?
I missed the entire. Missed the entire pregame. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I said I was gonna keep this part to myself. I made a promise to myself that was the last Super Bowl that I would listen to.
Oh, really?
I hate to be a wet blanket. I literally hate commentation. Okay, I'm old school, and it always goes back to me when I used to watch John Madden and all those guys. I used to learn things as I watched the game. Even though I was an active participant in the game, I used to John Madden and Al Michaels and Keith Jackson. Believe it or not, I was all section and receiver at one point. I was about Ivan's side, but I learned how to catch a football via John Madden. Because I used to beat you deep, and I used to have the whole. And I learned how to catch a football not through my coach, rest in peace, Jimmy Fields, or Willie Green. Willie Green, but John Madden explained the science of catching a football. I don't get that anymore. All I get is stat running and a bunch of nonsense. And I said, I'm not watching any pregame. I'm not watching. Like, I learned about the Andy Reid thing through you guys. Because I did watch a second pregame. Maybe it was a bad move. I'm just blanking on that part, y'all. I'm gonna be the old H route being silly in a minute, but hey. No pregame.
Now, look, I gotta say, I like Tony Romo because I think he gives you the inside part of the game that you don't get from some people. Some people you're just gonna get what the play was. You're just going to get that color commentating, but he'll call out and say, hey, they need to do this the next play. And almost like 9 times out of 10, they do that, or he's like, oh, well, they did this or whatever. So I like his takes. I think that's a perfect role for him. Obviously playing quarterback and he winning these Super Bowls, but he's been to multiple Super Bowls as a commentator. So that helps him, I'm sure, feel better, about his rest
even
of his
so
life.
much so he's got his own segment. Tony goes to the Super Bowl.
Right, exactly. He had a 1 hour, a whole 1 hour thing.
1 hour special, right?
Yeah, I was borderline suicide.
All right, Courtney, you want to add anything on to that?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the national anthem and the America the Beautiful by both artists. I had no problem with Eric Church and being there because he brought a little bit different rendition of it. But the thing I have a problem with national anthems now, like you said, like the Fergie thing, I start to cringe, just like H-Rap B said. I start to cringe when they start doing all these renditions and all these runs and all these things. I mean, it's funny because it started back when I remember when Christina Aguilera, when the first time she did it, I think it was at the NBA All-Star game or finals, and she went up there like she was drunk, and she went up there the way she looked, and I'm like, okay, she don't look right. Something. I mean, we know she can sing. She got a good voice, a very good voice, and then she went up there and started doing all these runs and things like that. I'm like, you're not Whitney Houston. Just kind of chill with that and just do you. Just sing it. You ain't got to do all these other things and all this.
Exactly.
But I did like Jasmine Sullivan because she got a really good voice. I really like her, and her did her thing too. So respect to all of them, and it was a good pregame national anthem.
All right. Shout out to I'm probably gonna say this. I guess HZ Gift. Is that his gift? Is that what that goes by? I believe. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you for coming through. Also, Mika Baldwin, a really good comment. Like, I think I don't know if people take her. I don't know if they don't take her serious or they just don't know much about her, but she is so talented that being able to play that guitar riff on the guitar, also her vocals. She's got a song out right now with I think it's Aoki. I think is her first or last name, but I mean she's extremely talented, and like the comment says, finally starting to get her recognition that she deserves. Same as Jasmine. Thank goodness these ladies are being true as a true artist. Been fans for years, so I definitely agree there. All right, so let's get to the game. I'm gonna pull up my notes here as well because I was taking some notes. A lot of it was like expletives, but I was taking notes. And, but the first quarter is 7-3. Obviously, Mahomes just could not get going. You could clearly see from the jump, the game plan was to abuse that offensive line because Eric Fisher was not there. We mentioned that. I talked about that last week. They had to move the right tackle, I believe, to the left side, to the left tackle. I mean, they had to move the line around. Obviously, you could see just how much they just could not block. The Chiefs had a nice goal line stance, and that I was starting to think, okay, they may be able to get some momentum. It just never happened. The momentum never happened, and the first quarter was just kind of blah. I don't know, how you guys felt. Ivan, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, Pat Mahomes, man, this cat had less than 100 yards passing in the first half, and I don't know that that's ever happened in a game that he's played, Yeah. So that had to take a toll on him mentally, if nothing else. And, I was actually hearing some folks on Facebook or reading some folks on Facebook talking about how he didn't show up or whatever. And I said, I don't know what game you were watching. The dude was running for his life. He was pressured more times, 29 pressures. That's more QB pressures in Super Bowl history. Okay, in Super Bowl history, 29 QB pressures, okay? And they actually tracked how many yards he ran while running for his life. He ran 497 yards, not in positive field position, in trying to stay alive. So it wasn't no Pat Mahomes, man. That line, the front four of Tampa Bay is just so fierce, man. And like they did their job, So it was tough on him, but it wasn't on Pat Mahomes because even in running for his life, he made some throws that should have been caught. Spectacular throws that should have been caught. So it wasn't on him.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, I mean, in that, and he threw 49 times in this game, 26 for 49, no interceptions. No touchdowns the entire game. I don't know. It looked like we lost A-Trap, but that's a rare occurrence. I mean, he is normally spot on, and now we understand that's because he has time. He had no time, and even when he does have time, he's able to scramble and able to get to either. And he was getting a lot of first downs, So you could see that he was running, but the first downs weren't equaling the points. They were equaling to 3 points. And 3 field goals in this game, that's not going to equal a win. Wilks, I'll go to you. What was your thoughts on the first quarter?
Yeah, I was surprised. I was thinking like, okay, they're going to drive it down the field. They'll probably get 7 points and go up. But just to come away with those 3 points, and now that you guys mentioned this, I don't even remember them running the ball at any time really in the first quarter. Everything was trying to go deep, trying to go down the field, or like Dawkins was mentioning, that there were some things that should have been caught that were bouncing off of face masks.
Right.
It was just one of those things where it's like, you say he didn't show up, and I was like, yeah, he was there. I think I remember him throwing laterally,
Right.
spirals, but it's just one of those things where I was surprised to just see that slow start and how they pretty much paralyzed them in the first quarter, because they didn't come away with anything else. I guess going even into the second quarter, it may have been 6-7 by then. But yeah, I was just really surprised for them, not to even get in another field goal range. Like they couldn't even get in scoring position.
Yeah, that first quarter was pretty tough to watch, knowing what we know Patrick Mahomes can do.
Right.
And what they did in that first quarter just did not equal. So at the end of the first quarter, I'm thinking, okay, they're going to get this going somehow, some way. Like it has to happen, because that's what this team is. They've gone down before and they've been able to come back, but this was different. Courtney, I know you kind of mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we got to give credit to the Tampa Bay defensive line. As you said, they didn't blitz. I mean, I think they blitzed, 10% of the time or something like that? Or less than that. I think it was like less than 10% of the time. So, and that's usually Todd Bowles' game plan. He likes to blitz from a lot of different angles. And, I mean, they just dominated the offensive line. And they was just all over the field, and they took away the deep ball. Like they were like, Tyreek Hill, you're not going to beat us with 260 something yards again, like you did early in the year. We're going to bracket you with 3 guys, and we're going to take Kelsey out too. So once he took those 2 guys out, so I thought Mecole Hardman was going to have one of those big games, because now he's their next guy. Because with Sammy Watkins, I know he played, but was he even on the field at all? I know he had 1 catch.
I didn't see him at all.
Didn't hear much.
Yeah, I know he's been hurt, but I thought Mecole Hardman was going to be the guy. And then Mahomes was trying to go to him. And as you said, Mahomes, he was not the problem at all. And I heard Stephen A. said he was. He said it earlier. And I heard some other commentators say that earlier. I'm like, were you guys watching the same game? Like, The reason why they were still in the game was because of Patrick Mahomes trying to make plays. Like you say, he was running for his life. Even from the first quarter, I knew as soon as they put pressure on him, like, okay, this might be a long day for him.
He looked like Russell Wilson out there.
Yeah, right. So, and I'm looking at it like, okay, they're dominating this offensive line. It reminded me again of the Eagles. We talked Carson Wentz. It was like Carson Wentz was running for his life all season. So now Patrick Mahomes is doing the same thing. Because if you don't have an offensive line, if it gets down like that, it's gonna be a long day for your quarterback. And that's what it was for Patrick Mahomes. But see, Mahomes, way better than Carson Wentz, not comparing them at all. Way better than Carson Wentz. But Mahomes is running around. He said he's running for 500 yards backwards. It's not going forward. But the plays he was making throughout the game, even from the first quarter, I thought they was going to get some momentum. When they did stop Ronald Jones on that goal line stand, I thought, okay, now they're going to click. But they didn't get the points, and it felt like to me, like when Buffalo played them 2 weeks ago, Buffalo kept getting field goals, and Kansas City was doing the same thing, and it just didn't work out. You got to score points against Tampa Bay, and they just didn't do it.
Yeah. And Tracy Porter, you hit the nail on the head. Mahomes basically had nowhere to go the entire football game. Bucs linebackers dominated for 4 quarters. Yeah. A big name, Devin White, which he's been playing lights out this entire playoffs. Shaq Barrett was extremely physical, getting to Patrick Mahomes all night long. And then JPP, Pierre Paul was getting there too. So when you have 3 guys in your face, and then they were even blitzing corners and safeties just to get him off of his game, and you could just clearly see that that first quarter, you can clearly see it wasn't going well. But I had some hopes, like, hey, they're gonna get back in this game because we've seen it so many different times. Now, when we go into the second, that's when the goal line stance and they get that stop. But then Kelsey dropping a pass on the sideline, that is so uncharacteristic of him. Now, the pass wasn't perfect, I get it, but like this is what you do. You catch balls. You're not really a blocking tight end. You are normally the guy that's going to, get receptions. And so that was really shocking to me. And then there was another pass to Tyreek Hill. He was kind of turned around. He wasn't able to catch that. But I thought, when the ball comes close to you, especially in this type of game, you got to catch everything. You got to pretty much play close to perfect, which is what that Buccaneers defense did. So as we go into, let's bring A-Trap back in. But as we go into that second half, which really was not any better, and it only started to kind of deteriorate from there. It only had one field goal in the second, ended up being 21-6 at the half. And you're starting to think, is this going to be a Falcons type Super Bowl situation? They're going to make this miraculous comeback, and it obviously didn't happen that way. But talk about the impact of dropping passes. And A-Trap, I'll go to you.
Oh yeah, that was the most disappointing part. It was just like the entire Chiefs offense. Well, I've seen, to be honest with you, who had any form of composure. He was under duress the entire game, as you stated, as Ivan stated, 29 pressures or 26 pressures NFL Super Bowl record. And Kelsey dropping everything, everybody else is dropping. And it was kind of pathetic.
Yeah. Shout out to Dalen Landers. What's up, big heads? Appreciate that. But yeah, it's something that you're not expecting to see, and you're expecting that light bulb to like click on, and you're expecting like, oh, this is the team that we were expecting to see, but it just never happened. And I think that's probably the most disappointing part is it did not live up to the hype. I think that's the most disappointing part. I was expecting this to be a high scoring game. For it to go, to the fourth quarter and maybe a field goal is what ends up winning it. But Dawkins, I'll go to you. That second quarter.
Yeah. When I hear you talking about the struggles of Mahomes, and I think about those, Todd Bowles' name just keep popping in my head. Todd Bowles. He called a hell of a game from a defensive coordinator standpoint. And, the talk was all week long, he said, I'm getting tired of hearing about this Kansas City offense. And he shut him down. And I got a feeling Kansas City didn't really respect Tampa Bay the way they should have. I think Tampa Bay thought that Tampa Bay was going to be a little softer than that. I don't think they was expecting the physicality that they got. Mike Tyson say everybody got a plan until they get hit. And when Kansas City got hit, that plan went out the window. But Todd Bowles can't receive enough credit, I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's true. And then Byron Leftwich too. Like people just think, oh, well, it's Tom Brady. But they were having vocal conversations. You could see that Leftwich would call in a play times like, I don't want to do that, or they're going back and forth. So I got so much respect for both of those guys. And then Bruce Arians. Like Bruce Arians, to be able to have probably the most black coaches on his staff, to me, he gets a salute because he did something that most organizations don't do, number one. And then number two, just don't even try to do. So that gave me even more respect for him. But Wilks, I'll go to you.
Yeah, it was I couldn't believe like what was going on, even on the Chiefs side. I didn't feel like even Andy Reid was there. Yeah. He was there physically, but I just felt like he was kind of just somewhere else. Just like you mentioned, with his son and the accident that was going on, and just how that defense was able to disrupt to get past people. I mean, like I said, they weren't even really blitzing. They were just getting off the ball quick, and getting in the backfield with the quarterback. I'm like, you're already in the man's face. He's putting the hand out, trying to run backwards to throw the ball, So it's just one of those things where it was just crazy how they could just get disruptive and just get them off of their game. And just stay in their faces pretty much and shut down. I noticed they played a lot of zone defense when they dropped back. They kind of got out of that prevent defense and did a lot of zone and just sent that front five. But yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, and then you had the Brady to Gronk connection. So they had 2 touchdowns. I mean, the ball is going to go to him eventually.
Right.
Like if I'm the Chiefs defense, the ball's going to go to him. He's the biggest guy on the field. So do whatever you can to try to stop him. And they just couldn't. He had 2 touchdowns in the second half. Also a record, Brady and Gronk, the most postseason touchdowns, the combination in history. And the thing I had in my notes is that the Chiefs were making a lot of mental mistakes. Now, like you cannot hold. I mean, every single play, it just seemed like they were holding. Now, home field advantage, I get it, but you gotta figure out a way to not get beat. Like that's it. That's the name of the game. Don't get. And then when you on camera and you holding the guy's jersey and you looking at the ref, like, oh, what happened? You've been holding this guy all night long. Like, that's the part. I expected so much out of the Chiefs corners. That to me was pissing me off. And I'm like, I'm not even a Chiefs fan. And I'm like, stop holding. Do you want to get this call on you? It's just like the refs were like, come on, we're trying not to call this, but you're doing everything possible for us to call these holding calls.
You're blowing it.
And then I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on Breland, the pass interference before the half, which it looks like they just tripped over each other's feet. I didn't understand how that was pass interference. To me, that was like, it just happens. You can't control that. So it looks like everybody disagrees with that shouldn't have been a pass interference. Is that right?
It shouldn't have been.
Yeah, I can't ride with that one.
No, they gotta pick that flag up.
Yeah.
Like, let them play.
Yeah, I mean, and you're tripping over the feet. Like, oh, well, go ahead, A-Trap.
I think that was PI. He was actually coached to do that. You could clearly see him swipe at dude. Next time you see that replay, he swiped at dude's leg. Every coach, every defensive coach worth his salt tells you when you are beat, grab him. Period. That's what that was. I played the position, and it's not that my opinion means more than anybody else. I would have done that. I was sitting there next to my man, and I was like, I would have did that too. You're not cooking me.
Right.
Hey, to me, I was like listening to the coach.
Yeah.
You see, he got up and argued a little bit because that's what you have to do it. But he knew what he did. He was booked. If he didn't do that, as Shannon Sharp said, boy would have hit his head on the goalpost.
Even burnt toast, man, for real.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I didn't mean to cut you off, but the ad, like you were saying, with the holding and all the grabbing that the corners were doing, it's funny because Romo brought that up and said the Chiefs have been getting away with this all season. They do a lot of these, the hand checking and the grabbing, and they're not calling it. The rest started saying, okay, like A-Trap said, they're going to call this now. As soon as they started calling it, those first 3-4 plays, the Chiefs corner should have been like, okay, they're calling this too tight. I can't get physical like I want to. But the Bucs on the other side, they were physical, and the Chiefs were just a finesse team, and it just caught up to them.
Yeah. And the fact is, Spagnuolo, man, what happened to Spagnuolo? You remember Spagnuolo with the Giants, the game plan that he came in with, it was like he just said, the game plan is when you get burnt, grab. Like, don't try to cover. The game plan was just get burnt. So if people want to say that there was cheating with the refs, they need to look at Spagnuolo. Spagnuolo was like, I don't know, just do your best. I'm over here.
Stay in front of them. That's it.
That's who you want to look at about as far as cheating. You need to look at that guy.
I'm sorry.
Now go ahead.
Now that I didn't like. They did call 2 different games. Because I think it was a play right in the end zone with the Chiefs. They went across the middle and dude barely touched them, and they called a PI on the Chiefs. The exact same thing happened against the in the end zone against the the Patriots against the Bucks, and they let it slide. That's something I did not like. I think now that look, the Chiefs tackles were turnstiles last night. There's no denying that. They had their way with them. They raped them, but I didn't like as a former corner, I'd have been pissed. But like I said, the first one y'all was talking about, I would have did that. I commended him for that. Like, hey, don't get beat.
Yeah, right.
Don't get beat.
Yeah, there was plenty of times where they was like, "Oh no, he's already gone," and they would just like grab him or attack him. So we got a comment from Mika Baldwin again. I've seen better games on Friday nights. Just my opinion. It became more of a mental game versus a physical game beginning in the second quarter, and that's a great point. And you started to see now coming out in halftime, you really just started to see things unravel. You started to see frustrations. You started to see Tyrann Mathieu, which, I mean, I get it. You're frustrated. I get it. You want to talk trash. But, bro, you're down 21-6. What is talking trash to Tom Brady going to do? I don't care if Tom Brady called you. I don't care if he called your mama out or something. Like, that is not equal to helping you at all. And I think from there on, it just did not get any better. Shout out to Highway City. He says Brady cheated again. he paid the refs.
Here we go.
No, Highway City. He paid Spagnola. He sent Spagnola a cash app for onesies, and Spagnola was like, "Oh, I got you, Tom. It's all good." But and the thing is, it's like they didn't show. I don't know if this was planned, but it was like they didn't show the sideline. The Chiefs sideline really at all, it seemed like. I mean, I've seen Spagnola once. I don't even know if I've seen Andy Reid more than twice. Yeah. And maybe because, I mean, it was just, I don't know, it was just one of the weirdest, Super Bowls that I've seen in a while, especially out of score went. So halftime, again, it was 21-6. And also AB ended up getting a touchdown. Before I think he got a touchdown or catch before the half. Yeah, like I'm look, AB, the guy that was, but believe me, he had some weird comments when he was with the Raiders. But to get ousted by the Steelers didn't want him. End up getting bouncing around. End up coming to Tampa Bay, getting a championship, and then Courtney, I want you to touch on this. Shady McCoy got a championship, and he didn't even touch the field. He wasn't even dirty. But he got two in that same situation. Yeah. So, like, don't get no better than that, especially if you didn't have to get dirty. You don't have to worry about no concussion protocol, and you got 2 rings. Hey, live it up.
He was saying that. He was saying before, like, he said he wish he would have got one with Philly, but, bro, you got 2. So live it up, man. You didn't have, like you said, you didn't have your jersey dirty or nothing like that. Live it up. Shady McCoy. Keep winning rings. Go to championship teams. Just keep winning rings.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the halftime show, which look, I like
was there a halftime show?
Looks like he went missing. I guess he
under the table. He's like, I'm done.
No, look, I like The Weeknd. I think he's talented. I like the vocals. I like his songs, but the performance, I thought it was creative. I would say that, but I was waiting for someone else to come out. I don't know, anybody. Like somebody. Drake, somebody, me, you, Wilks, Courtney, somebody come out there. It was like no features. So I'm gonna give him an A for creativity, but overall, I just think it was literally a one-man show, and I was not expecting that. I thought you would have had somebody else come out there. So, A-Trap, you were shaking your head. Give me your thoughts first.
I forgot to send you those texts that I was sending the rest of my friends. One of my texts was, I wouldn't let this dude perform in my funeral.
Wow.
The next one was, he should change his name to Thursday morning.
Weekday.
That was horrible, man. That dude was garbage truck. He stunk.
The halftime show from the weekend made it feel like I was watching the halftime on a weekday. There you go. Somebody just piggybacked off the comment. Yeah. All right, Wilks. I go to you. I know you was under the table there for a minute.
I think I literally think I walked out a few times. Like I was in the kitchen. I was in the kitchen tending to my Super Bowl meal, man. I was like, man, this is. I don't know. I just could not. Like you guys said, I was expecting somebody else to come out. I was thinking, oh, what a surprise guest. Somebody they didn't mention. But I was like, where's this guy going? Then he's like in this maze at the Fair Park, like walking around. It looked like the set of Bruce Lee Enter the Dragon, all these mirrors and everything. What is happening right now? But then, of course, Twitter just took it from there. And they were saying, like me when I'm in the grocery store. And I'm like, there you go. Twitter going in. But, yeah, that halftime show was just honestly, I didn't even know who was doing the halftime until about November, December. They just kept repeating this Pepsi commercial. I'm like, oh, well, this is the halftime show. But then I thought maybe there'll be a special guest, but nothing really happened after that. It didn't really have a climax or crescendo to anything. And it's just like, man, this dude, he didn't even have a wardrobe change. I was like, man, this man, what's going on right here? It's like,
yeah, and then he went from like the top of the stadium, and then he went down the stairs to the thing, and then he was coming in and out of the.
Yeah,
I don't know. I like the creativity, but I was expecting like the next thing, and then it was over. I was like, and then my wife was like, please don't do that song that's out right now. And I was telling her they're going to do that song. I guarantee you, in the middle or at the end, that is his hit song right now. They're going to do it at some point. And when they did that on the field, but I was expecting more, and it just did not happen. I thought it was something about J-Lo and someone else was supposed to be. That was last year, maybe.
Well, all I'm gonna say to the Super Bowl Entertainment Committee, please bring back wardrobe malfunctions. We would love it. You don't need one nipple or something.
Just one. Give me one, please.
Man, just one, please.
Hey,
revert me back, please.
Isn't Jay-Z on that committee? I thought Jay-Z was on that.
He picked it. It was Rock Nation.
I think you're right.
Yeah, he got turned in his slip because
won't he perform? Let Jay-Z perform. Then
come on, do a Jay Bay, do the whole Rock Nation. Bring out Rihanna.
Bring Bay with him. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yes, right. Yeah, to me it was horrible. Like, and he kept staring at the camera. I'm like, dude, what are you doing, man? Like, just perform the songs, get over with it, and everything. Yeah. And I think I watched a little bit, and I'm like, let me go watch Law and Order SVU to the second half. That's what I did. It was like
Law and Order.
Yeah, it was wasn't good at all.
Yeah. Mika says, bless his heart, he needed help. I kept watching, waiting for something until he went into that room. With all the rooms, I got dizzy. Even Beyonce had people join her during the halftimes. I was like, somebody, like, bring her. She already there.
Yeah,
bring Eric Church out there. Like, I'll bring somebody.
DJ Khaled, somebody, man. Bring somebody.
Somebody from Miami.
Yeah, because when that door opened, in between the stage there, it made it seem like somebody was coming out or something was about to happen. Well, next thing I know, he's in Willy Wonka world, and I'm like, what's going on here?
He's looking around. Maybe he's like Patrick Mahomes. He's looking around for receivers and stuff like that. I don't know what he's doing in that maze, man. He's just looking around like, what is going on?
He tried. I'd rather have J-Lo and Shakira again. Matter of fact, I'd rather have DJ Khaled. Yeah, he's already there. I guarantee you he was there. And the fact that they keep having this thing in Florida, and they haven't brought Luke up there at all. Now, I get it. Some of the songs are not really for TV. But give him like 5 minutes, okay? Do something.
Pitbull, somebody.
You have it in Miami this many times. You don't give Luke no play at all.
They like, nah, he's too raunchy. They like, nah, we can't have him up there. Can't have no wardrobe malfunctions up there. There'd be multiple,
yeah. A lot of wardrobe malfunctions.
Oh yeah.
That one had the best ratings ever.
But what about his dancers? The weekend dancers had jock straps on their face for some reason. I don't know what they were doing.
It was weird. Like I said, I appreciate his creativity, but it did not work out the way he thought it was going to work.
Right.
And I will never drink a Pepsi again. If I see one more Pepsi commercial, come on, I get it. You get a free prize. I understand, but I'm not drinking Pepsi anymore. I really didn't like it in the first place, but that's the story. All right, let's
Pepsi,
go.
Unless you sponsor this show, we will drink it.
Oh, hey, I will have it right here. I'll be on it like this the whole show.
Shout out to Pepsi. I'm saying it. Shout out to Pepsi. My favorite soda, man. Pepsi and Sprite. Shout out.
All right, so let's as we talking about the halftime, let's talk about the commercials, and then we'll go into the second half, which I thought it was some good commercials. Now, obviously, before the Super Bowl, the one of the biggest things is a lot of these guys weren't going to do commercials. So Budweiser, GoDaddy, normally they have one. I think they had one, but it was like one that was already running. It wasn't something new. So some of the big players weren't in this, but a couple of the ones I did like. There was a movie called Old, which they're like on an island. That looked really good. Now that's Night Shyamalan. He's always one of those.
We got to review that one.
He's one of them cats that's gonna have you on the edge of your seat the entire movie. So that one, the Cheetos with Shaggy, that was a good one.
Oh yeah.
Brought Shaggy back. And then the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm a big Marvel person, so just to give me something Marvel, which they did. They gave you a little bit of something. That was nice. All right, so Wilks, I'll go to you. What was your top 2 or 3 commercials?
I have to say this one that stood out to me because I haven't heard anybody talking about it. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But did anybody notice the M&M commercial where they're passing out M&M's packages?
Yes.
To say I'm the lady, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I called you Karen." But then she's like, "But that's my name." She's like, "Well, I'm sorry, your name is Karen." She hands her another M&M. And I was just thinking, M&M, okay, I guess she's trying to get in there and kind of take you little shots there on social media, but that one was pretty funny. Then they kept showing the Samuel Jackson one, which was weird. I didn't understand what was going on. But I did get the reference to the movie he was in. They got ate by the shark, so I got that part, but that was a weird one. Then they had Will Ferrell was in one with a bunch of actors, and I guess GM is going into Norway for the first time. I guess that's what I got from that. But there was one more. Oh, of course, the Tracy Morgans were pretty funny, but that was really about. It didn't seem a lot was going on there with the commercials. I mean, I guess because of maybe COVID or whatever, but it didn't seem like they had a lot of great ones. They had a few they tried, but some of them just kind of fell to the wayside for me. But I really did enjoy that M&M's though. That was pretty funny. I was like, okay, I got you on that one.
That one was perfect for the times right now. All you had to do was say, "Sorry, your name's Becky." And that would have took it off. That would have taken it off.
Right. Exactly.
All right, Dawkins, I go to you.
Yeah, I actually checked out USA Today's top 10 Super Bowl commercials, and ironically, they did have Tracy Morgan's Rocket Mortgage commercials as their top 2, believe it or not. Not just the first position, but they gave them for top 2. Their third was Amazon with Michael P. Jordan playing Alexa's Body. I thought that was funny. But my personal favorite was State Farm with Drake. So Drake from State Farm instead of Jake from State Farm, and the Bobby Apples. And then an honorable mention goes to Doritos 3D with Flat Matthew McConaughey. A lot of people were
stuck in the machine
by that, So what happened was on the commercials, like Budweiser, Doritos, and a couple other big players as being mentioned, they decided not to go the full budget that they typically do on Super Bowl Sunday with the commercials, and they wanted to donate money to like vaccine awareness and some other charitable causes. They still advertise their other products, like for instance, Doritos didn't do your mainstream Doritos; they did Doritos 3D. Budweiser didn't do full Budweiser, but they did that Bud Light Legends commercial, which was fantastic, and then they did the lemonade seltzer, Bud Light or whatever. Right. So that's what they kind of did. But it fell a little flat from previous years. But again, I'm pretty sure that's just because they pulled some of the budget.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing I'm also not going to do, I'm not going to get Paramount Plus, okay? Unless they sponsor this show. But other than that, I will not ever get Paramount. I mean, the stuff that they have on there, I didn't really see anything that was like, wow. Besides, I mean, SpongeBob, but I'm not watching SpongeBob. It's like the D. That was like the D list of all streaming platforms.
Everybody's got a streaming platform now, man.
All right, A-Trap, I'll go to you.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm not streaming another thing, man. I'm streamed out. But I like the ones you guys like, Tracy Morgan, the Bud Light Classics. I like those, and I'm gonna add this to it. I think some of those advertisers were being slick. They got free advertising by saying, "Oh no, we're not gonna do the Super Bowl this year. We're gonna give money to this organization." You automatically got free Super Bowl coverage because you gave away money to charity. You're not slick. Right. You're not slick. Yeah. I'm on to you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I really like the last 4 or 5 years, I haven't really been impressed because it seems like in the past, the Super Bowl commercials made us laugh because they were cool and quirky, and now they're trying to make us laugh.
Yeah. Or they're trying to make you cry. One of them.
Yeah.
They're trying to make you. They don't want you to have the other side of the emotion. All right, Courtney, I'll go to you.
Yeah, I agree. The Rocket Mortgage one was good, but I've never been. I'm just not a commercial. For the last 5-6 years, as Ray Trap B said, it's just like they've been boring, or they're trying to force you to laugh and a few things. But the Rocket Mortgage one was good. Paramount was okay, like you said. There's some they try to give you all these things, but as you said, there's too many streaming services. I'm tired of them too. Everybody's got one. Discovery's even got one. So it's like come on, So, but the Marvel ones, I'm always on Marvel. That's me. That's my thing. Marvel movies. So Falcon Winter Soldier, even though it was only a minute, it was still enough to be like, okay, I'm watching this. I'm definitely gonna watch this in March. So that was, to me, was a couple of my favorite ones too.
Now, a couple that no one mentioned, the Jimmy John's commercial with the guy from Raymond. That one was pretty good. It was like, we got cold cuts from what he said, from meats.
King of the cold cuts.
Right. Yeah, King of the Cold Cuts. That was a good one.
What about the Wayne's World one with Cardi B?
That was interesting. Bringing back that nostalgia. I thought that was pretty cool. The weirdest commercial of all time was that oat milk commercial.
Yes, yep.
The guy that was playing it, I was like, who is this? What are you? Why would I buy this with you singing on TV? And my wife was like, he just loved himself too much. I mean, because like, why would you get on there and you're the CEO and you play a piano? Now, obviously, it made me remember the commercial, but I don't know what the milk's called, and I don't plan on buying it anytime soon. So
and then he said, "I want to buy a Super Bowl ad." You're like, what?
That was weird. Now, the other one, we talked about the touchy moments commercials. A Day in the Life. It's a YouTube movie where basically it shows like a day in the life of different people. I thought that is kind of gripping because this past year, obviously all the things that have happened, that would be something good to watch, just to kind of make you view what's happened over the year. So those are some of the ones. But yeah, overall, I don't think none of them were like wow. But definitely the Rocket Mortgage, Tracy Morgan, which I'm not the biggest Tracy Morgan fan, but the way he's so nonchalant about everything, that just makes it even more funny. So, all right, so let's get to the third quarter, which again wasn't really going that much better, and it's just like the Tampa Bay just started to pour on more scoring. KC ended up kicking a field goal, and it ends up going to 31-3, and now we're starting to Tony Romo's like, if they're going to do something, They got to do it now. He said that like 4 or 5 times.
He said it in the fourth quarter too.
Yeah, like if it's gonna be some magic, you got to do it now. And the magic, frankly, just never happened. Now, Travis Kelce ended up getting more catches, but the thing is, I don't know if somebody said this already. They were playing deep, so all that stuff over the middle, all those 9 to 10 yard passes, they were letting them have that, but they could not get anything deep at all. And that took away a lot of their game. So by the end of the third, people stopped watching. I mean, a lot of people stopped watching. I was listening to Keyshawn, Jay Will, and Zubin. They got a show on ESPN, and I think Keyshawn was like, "I turned it off. Like, I don't even know why I'm even watching this. I mean, because something miraculous has to happen." And nothing miraculous or even close to miraculous happened, throughout the first 3 quarters. So let me ask this, did anybody turn it off at the end of the third by a show of hands?
I think I walked off.
Hey, Trout. So why did you turn it off? I think I know what you're going to say, but I'll let you answer.
Yeah, it was evident that they're not coming back. The offensive line was a sieve. Travis Kelce dropped everything. He couldn't catch a cold naked in Alaska. When it counted, because it went in between from 20 to 20, he was catching everything. Once they get the red zone, he was done. Or if it was third down, he was done. You talk about, somebody was joking and said Brady sent Spagnuolo a check. Maybe we need to check Travis Kelce's account.
Maybe.
Maybe.
All right, so
only thing about that I like was AB and Bell were on opposite sidelines, and Ben is at home.
Yeah. Wilks, did you go back to the grill and flip some more steaks or something?
No, man, I had a lemon tartare I was working on, but no, it was just the third quarter was such a flash because Kansas was still not doing anything, and I expected after the halftime they were going to have a different game plan, but they never implemented running again. They never went back to a run play. I mean, they didn't even have outside screens. They kept trying to force to Tyreek Hill down the field, but it was like, okay, he got about 9-10, got a first down, but he's not breaking for the big yardage. I mean, they're keeping him close to the sideline, forcing him out and not getting past the secondary. So it was just one of those things where I just felt like they didn't regather themselves at all. And Mahomes was trying his best. I saw him on the sideline and, firing up guys and just talking to them, but it looks like it wasn't really registering. And like I said, the third quarter was kind of a flash for me. I walked out a few times, and I think I even missed some commercials because I was still in the kitchen. But it was just one of those third quarters. It was like Romo was saying, it's just, if you're going to do something now would be great to put your cape back on. But, I don't think Mahomes ever took his cape off. I mean, he was running around trying to scramble, hoping somebody would get open downfield. And then when they were open, like I said, the ball was bouncing off the face mask, going right through their hands, or deflected. And the balls were just getting swatted out of the air at the line of scrimmage. I mean, it was just kind of crazy.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I think we're coming to a conclusion that a lot of people got paid on the Chiefs. The wide receivers, Spagnuolo, Travis Kelce. It just, and that's the weirdest part. Like you haven't seen this from the Chiefs team, I would say, ever. Like this type of performance we haven't seen ever. And now they beat them earlier in the year. Obviously, Eric Fisher was a huge part of that, him being there. But it was just off. And I think that turf toe, you could see, Mahomes was limping, even though he was still running around.
Yeah.
But I think that I'm sure it was hurting. I don't know if that necessarily affected him because he just didn't have time. It didn't matter.
He was playing on a toe that needed surgery right after the season, and I'm like, okay, well,
And then the fact that there was zero scoring in the fourth quarter on both teams, like that,
right?
That was it right there. And so my wife's like, can they just let them score? Can they just let them get one? I'm like, let them.
Nope.
Nobody letting anybody do anything. Like this isn't Pee Wee. This isn't flag. This isn't two-hand touch football on the street. This is the Super Bowl. And then when they got the interception at the end, I was just like, man, like they can't get a break at all. But Dawkins, I'll go to you.
Yeah, quite simply, defense wins championships. And, you know, being a Cowboy fan, I got to see up close and personal a couple of championships. And what their defense used to do is they used to impose their will on the opponent. And that's what Tampa Bay's defense did. They imposed their will on Kansas City. And Kansas City gave in. In fact, there's a meme going around with Tom Brady on his back saying, "Bring your son to work day," and he had Mahomes sitting on his neck. So I brought my son to work today. You know,
Badger on there too. Might as well.
Defense wins championships, and you know, and another thing, I think Mika had commented earlier talking about that it became a mental game. Well, there was a mental game long before the game started. See, Tom Brady been sending his guys text messages all week saying, "Hey, we finna win this game. You know, make no mistake about it. We're winning this game. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. We're winning the game." So when they came in, Tampa Bay was believing we finna win. You know, and then on the other hand, somebody just commented they heard Kansas City didn't even have a pregame speech, didn't even have a hype speech. Maybe they should have had one.
Yeah. Maybe. All right, Courtney.
Just to add a little bit to that, what Dawkins just said, it was like the Chiefs kind of went in there arrogant, like, "Oh, we got this. We beat them before. We could do it again." And that's what it seemed like. They just went in there thinking we're just going to continue to do what we do. I was a believer in the Chiefs. I thought, like, okay, they're down 21-6 at halftime. They get the ball back. They get the ball in the second half, but then they didn't do anything in that first drive. They did nothing. So I was like, they're gonna end up losing this game. And they gave Tom Brady they gave him too many chances. They let him get the ball. He drove the Bucs right down the field every single time. And like I said, we got to give credit to the Bucs, more credit to the Bucs, because they went in there believing they can beat this team, and they did. And they physically manhandled the Chiefs on all phases of the game, and that was it. That was the deciding factor. He said, can't blame Mahomes too much. I mean, yes, he was missing targets a little bit too, but he was the one playing. He was the one rallying the troops and trying to get guys going and things like that. But they just seemed like Andy Reid he was just sitting there. And like I said, I've seen that too many times up close, where he has such a talented team, and then he just gets like, okay, I'm not even going to make that was the sad thing. He didn't make adjustments in the second half. There was no adjustments. I figured this is what he's going to do. They're going to make adjustments, but he just kept looking at his play sheet and just saying, well, we got Mahomes. We're good. Usually that worked, but just didn't work this time.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't. I mean, and you gotta change it up when everything's going wrong, and you're going into the fourth quarter. You're already down. It was just like they just did what they did the rest of the other three quarters, which wasn't working. And I think, you know, I don't know how much he was truly there. Your son was involved in an accident. He's probably going to be charged, possibly. I mean, you got to be concerned and thinking about that. But at the end of the day, Todd Bowles, like Mocha Bella said, big ups to Todd Bowles and Byron Leftwich. They couldn't have called a better defensive game than what they did. A-Trap, you want to add anything onto that?
I just want to echo everything that Courtney said and add this to it. I'll take it back to what me and you connected. We were on X Squad. And I used to always say, you run the win, you throw the score. And people used to laugh. Oh, this is a throwing league. And like Ivan said earlier, they were not tough enough. When you run the ball down somebody's throat, you will beat them every time. That's what people are not paying attention to. My man from LSU, Fournette, and Jones out of SC. They won them and the defense won the football game. Football has always been a game of another man forcing another man against his will. When you throw the ball that much, you can't do that.
Yeah.
All you have to do is go back to the Super Bowl that Spagnuolo won the first time against Brady. Bradshaw and Brandon Jacobs ran the ball down the Patriots' throats, and they couldn't do anything. And that NASCAR package put Brady on his behind all night long. One more thing, and then I give it up. Maybe this is why Eric Bieniemy is not getting those coaching jobs.
Yeah, that's a good point. And honestly, I'm starting to think. I'm starting to think that Andy Reid is thinking about retirement, or maybe has already told Bieniemy like, "Hey, I'm getting ready to get out of here. I'm not telling anybody this, but the job is yours, if you want it." And I think that could be a part of it too. But the way this Super Bowl went, that he probably should have accepted the job before the Super Bowl, or if they would have offered him a job. But honestly, I think the job. I mean, if we look at Andy Reid, he's going to retire eventually. I don't know. I'm going to look up how old he is.
68, I believe. 68.
68.
I mean, so, he's actually 62. So, really? I mean, what's the plan, going forward? I disagree about Bieniemy not getting the job. And he's a Chiefs fan. I was a Chiefs fan.
I'm not disregarding the discrimination, the obvious discrimination, but this is what people are going to point to. People will go, well, if Andy wasn't on point, this was Eric's time to shine, and he didn't.
And I want to add not to that, but the other point you made about the defense winning championships. I know we all remember when Peyton Manning went to Denver the first time. And he had those record-breaking numbers. I think he passed for 5,000 yards, almost 50 touchdowns, and they were they were dominant. And then Seattle came in the Super Bowl and just whooped them. They said, "We're gonna put the pressure on you,"
punch him in the mouth,
and just took him right, punch him in the mouth. Like you said, Mike Tyson said, "You have a plan until you get punched in the mouth." That plan goes out the window, as Dawkins said. So that's what I think. It's almost the same exact thing. Tampa Bay just took their will against a very finesse team. Kansas City is great. They're a good team. They're a real good team, but they took that and the physical. It was just a hard smash mouth football, old school way, and that's what Seattle did to Denver years ago when they came in with that high powered offense too, shut them down.
Yeah,
I have to say I didn't see all the Chiefs games during the season, but I can't recall, or maybe I missed it. I may be speaking out of terms, but has there been pressure like that in Mahomes' face? I don't think he's seen pressure like that all season. I don't
like that. No.
But they've been in close this season. They've been in a lot of close games. They just happened to win these close games. It finally caught up to them at the biggest game of the year. There were some games they probably should have lost. There was a lot of games they probably should have lost, but they were so good enough on offense they could overcome a lot of those slow starts and things like that. But in the biggest game, the slow starts, and they said that was just a lot of pressure on Mahomes. I don't care who you are. No quarterback's going to be able to overcome that type of pressure. You could be Brady. You could be anybody. It don't even matter. You get that pressure on. It's a wrap.
Yeah. The line has struggled most of the year. Fisher was a huge loss. That's a good point. I didn't know that. I mean, so, and also they did this in the pregame. The guy from Canada that plays on the O-line, he went back home to Canada. He's a doctor to help fight COVID. So that could be a factor too. As you get later on in the season, you start having more injuries. Guys start getting worn down. So the end of the game, 31-9. They did not score one touchdown. That is rare. And Tom Brady went 21 for 29. For 201 yards, 3 touchdowns, 125.8 passer rating.
No interceptions.
And I want to give a shout out to Leonard Fournette. That's another one of those guys that went to this team, and when he came here, Bruce Arians said Ronald Jones is the starter. And at first I was like, who is Ronald Jones? And why aren't you starting Leonard Fournette? But you see throughout this entire season, like Ronald Jones put up pretty big numbers. But Fournette, when you needed a guy in the Super Bowl, Yeah, he was toting the rock. He had 16 for 89 and a touchdown and 5.6 yards per carry. I mean, it really you when you needed a couple of yards, he was able to get it. And he went back to forget the Jaguar days. He went back to the LSU days. Just the way he was tearing it up. And I think he must have LSU pads. I don't know if you guys noticed that. He got like purple and yellow pads underneath his pads or something like that. So that must be something that he does. But Fournette played well. Obviously, we mentioned Gronk. Devin White, man, 12 tackles, played extremely well. And then Sue had 1.5 sacks. But I wanted to point out any players that you guys were either surprised of or kind of X factors in this game that made a huge difference. And Dawkins, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, you mentioned Devin White already. Again, another LSU product, Louisiana product, and he jumps off the screen at you, and I got a feeling he's going to be hell for the league to deal with for the next several years. Shaq Barrett, his name kept getting called. He made an impact. He was constantly in Brady's face, and then, of course, as you mentioned, Leonard Fournette, he was a man amongst boys. He was on a mission. He was running, trying to deliver the punishment as opposed to getting the punishment delivered to him. And it was very, very noticeable, and I made a note as I was watching the game at the end of the first half, that route that AB ran, if you paid attention to that route, they made a replay. That route he ran, I was like, I jumped off the couch just to replay because it was so cold. So those are the guys who really stood out to me and made me actually put the pen down and say, okay, this guy did something.
Yeah, that route AB ran. I don't know who was covering him, but he had no chance. That was one of the sweetest routes. Yeah, and that just goes back to the talent that he still has. Like he hasn't lost anything. The fact that Tom Brady went to bat for him, like, hey, I want him on the team. That was the Tom Brady effect. Bruce Arians said, I don't want him. Tom said, bring him in here. I think he can help us. And he did truly help, throughout the season. Anybody else had anybody besides what we mentioned already, Courtney or
Gronk? I think Gronk, just for the simple fact that they didn't use him a lot during the season. They've saved him just for this moment because they knew what he can be. So I think with Brady and how they used Gronk, I mean, he was back there blocking most of the season. So now that they used him, and I knew he was going to be an X factor because he still got some game in him, and Brady got it out of him. And Brady looked for him. Those first 2 touchdowns, I was like, it's going to be a long day for the Chiefs. They can't guard him. They can't cover him. And so I think he was a huge X factor among all the players that you guys already named.
All right. A-Trap, do you want to mention someone?
What I would say, even in the losing effort, I'm a Raider fan, and I gained more respect for Patrick Mahomes. Like I always say, quarterbacks throw the ball like I ain't got it. Like let the defender know, don't hit me, I ain't got it. It was none of that in him yesterday. He got beat up. He got beat up yesterday, and he stood tall. So even in the losing effort, I gained more. I saw a lot of people criticizing him. Like I got a buddy. What he does is stand on top of the fence, and whoever falls, that's who he criticizes. In the end of the bench group, name is Donald Goins. So he just waits on you to have a bad game. I thought he was good. It was like, who do you like? He never addresses that, but that's neither here nor there. But as a Raider fan, I was looking at Patrick Mahomes like, yeah, this dude is a real quarterback. And criticize him if you like the pass. And had they caught the passes that they normally call, this would be a different game. Yeah. So I gained a lot of respect for him. And I want to address one more thing. I'm not saying that Eric Bieniemy is not a good coach. What I'm saying is people will point to last night and make that excuse. And I'm anticipating after last night, Byron Leftwich getting a job before.
Yeah, I can't argue that, man.
Yeah, and I'm gonna pull up a photo here in a minute. But that pass that he threw when he was basically diving forward. I don't think I've ever seen anybody throw a pass like that.
30 yards.
And then at the end of the game where he fumbled, he immediately got back up and dived on the ball. They were down 31-9, and he was like, "I'm not giving them any more points." And to me, that just shows his makeup, man, and that he's so. And the thing is, you can be critical if you want about him, but this is the beginning of his career. The dude's 25 years old.
He'll be there again. He's gonna
So,
be.
I mean, like this is that bump in the road that happens to all of the greats. And I think this is going to be what's going to, I think, make this team better, make him better, and he's going to be back in the Super Bowl again, no doubt. So people are highly critical of him. I think is
right.
He's not a football fan. Don't go too far. Huh? All right, so let's give a shout out to
you'll see me
greatest.
See me slow that down, you know.
Shout out to the greatest. Thank you for coming through over on YouTube. Appreciate you for tuning in. So two of the funniest moments, you guys may agree, you may have different moments. The guy that ran on the field. Now, I didn't actually see the full clip until today because they immediately turned the camera away. So then when I seen the clip, I was like, this dude's got a bikini on, a one-piece bikini on, running down the field. He shook some security guard that was like my size. Like, why they got the chubby dudes as security? Man, the athletic guys on the field so they can chase people down. He looked like he was out of breath and his ankles got broke, and then somebody else ended up catching the guy after he slid. So that was one moment. And then the moment that Antonio Winfield put the peace sign up in Tyreek Hill's face. Oh my God. Tyreek Hill couldn't be mad because he did the same thing to him. But I probably would have pushed him because I'm like, we just trying to rub it in. But hey, you did it to him. I'm gonna do it back to you. That was, and he was in his face for like a good few minutes.
Waiting for him to get up.
Yeah, he was like, you getting up yet? Oh, you're not up yet? Okay, I'm gonna still do. And then finally, when the ref came over, he was like, okay, I'm gonna stop now. So I thought that was two really funny moments. Anybody, Wilks, you had anything?
Actually, I think that was when I saw him throwing the peace sign. Of course, I immediately thought, okay, that's a flag. What are you doing? Like, look, you're already winning. You don't have to add insult to injury. Like, we did it. Like, man, just line up, run the play, run the clock down, and get it over with. And then, of course, the guy streaking on the field. I saw the full video today, and some guy comes in there like E Honda on Street Fighter and like knocks him down. I don't know what he was doing. What is going on right now? But it was just those two moments. It's pretty much the same two moments I had. I couldn't really think of anything else.
Yeah. Anybody else want to touch on that, Dawkins?
Well, being a man of size, I'd like to give a shout out to the fat coaches that was there, Bruce Arians and Andy Reid. Even though they need to start giving Andy Reid a ride to the sideline, because boy, his walk to the field and like he was struggling. His knees was hurting or something. So, but I definitely appreciate the fan coaches representing for the Pawpaws all over the
world. Yeah.
Shout out to Ivan. Ivan, I know that Andy Reid walked. That was his back. Don't need me to tell you how I know. That was his back. Yeah. I was at City Hall today walking just like Andy Reid.
He needed a heating pad. Yeah. He needed one of those battery operated heating pads. And
a golf cart, please, man. Yeah. Golf cart. Just let him just ride in the golf cart. Yeah. But yeah, the streaker when he was running, and I saw the video, and when he got tackled, I was cracking up because the security guard that hit him in the head, like he tackled him from the head, and he fell down, and he was hurt. The guy was hurt. He was holding his head. I'm like, oh yeah, he down.
Yeah.
He said he got to spend one night in jail.
Yeah. Now a follow-up story is supposedly this guy made a prop bet that he would run on the field. I don't remember the amount it was. A-Trap, I see you kind of was going know where I was going there.
No, actually, I was going in another direction. When you said the backup story, I was thinking about the Tyronn Mathieu and Brady story.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you guys to hear about that?
Here we go.
Because
go ahead.
The Honey Badger tweeted. He never said it, but he tweeted something out that made you think Brady lived up to his MAGA hat, and then he deleted it. I'll send you the article now.
Oh, and, so that's why they was. Yeah, I kind of heard a little something.
I saw that too
on the radio today.
Yeah.
They said it doesn't matter what he said to you, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, there's some hint of that out there.
Yeah, because Honey Badger said,
and
after that,
very long.
Go ahead.
He listened to a very long apology.
Yeah, and Honey Badger said when he put that tweet out, he said that the media's going to just throw me under the bus anyway. They're going to go to the Golden Boy and blah. Then he deleted it. Honey Badger deleted it, and he said, God bless, or something like that. And then, as you said, Brady sent him a text, a long apology on Instagram or something like that. And Brady said he was a little bit out of character. So whatever he said, that got Honey Badger fired up, but Brady still torched him.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I mean, he was not the same guy. Honestly, he was not the same guy the rest of the game. Whatever he said to him, he was off. I think he was off his game the rest of the game. But yeah, I think when it comes down to it, Brady did have a MAGA hat in his locker, so I think that's pretty clear at this point. So, but yeah, Honey Badger was off, and he and the thing is, have we not learned that anything you put on social media does not go away when you delete it? Can we all get that through our heads, please?
Right.
When you delete something, it's still there. It's the internet. It's all right there.
Somebody screenshot it.
It does not go away. Your worst enemy, the person that hates you the most, is paying attention to that, and they're going to screenshot that. That's the same reason why Kevin Hart got called out on something that happened 10 years ago. And he was like, I don't even remember that. Why are you asking me this anyway? But
real quick, just a minute. I don't know if this was true or how recent this was, but there was also saying that, I don't know if Honey Badger had said this or like Brady said he was going to keep targeting him. I'm going to keep throwing at you all night.
Yeah, Brady said that, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what kind of fired him up. I'm like, well, if you ain't paying attention, Brady going to throw at you. I mean, if he's slacking, he's going to expose you. I mean,
stop him. Let's stop the guy that said he's going to throw at you.
All right.
So at the end of the day, Tom Brady has 7. The Tampa Bay Bucks have 2. One by Chucky and one by Bruce Arians. So I mean, and this is the first time ever. So I mean, I was not expecting them to be there. Quite honestly, I talked about this on my show on Saturday. The Super Bowl picks I had at the beginning of the year, one of them was the Chiefs. I don't remember who I had on the other side, but it wasn't Tampa Bay. I just didn't think they would have been able to mesh well together to be able to make it this far. And obviously, I was wrong there too. But I wanted to get you guys who did you have at the beginning of the year going to the Super Bowl? A-Trap, I'll go to you first.
Saints and Chiefs.
Okay. I can see that. And then Drew Brees went into Peyton Manning land. That last year, Peyton Manning was just bouncing passes to people. But the fact that side note, that arm strength. The fact that they had to bring in Jameis. Hey, Jameis, we need you to throw a long distance pass because our starting quarterback can't do it. If that wasn't a sign as anything else, that was it. But Courtney, I'll go to you. Who'd you have at the beginning of the year?
Seattle and the Chiefs. I thought this was going to be Russell Wilson's. It looked like it in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Thought it was going to be another chance for him to, get another ring. But I had Seattle and the Chiefs in the beginning of the year.
Okay. Dawkins?
I actually had the Chiefs and the Packers. I thought LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers were starting to get in the groove at the end of last season. So I figured, they would come into this season pretty hot, But let's not mistake. You mentioned Tom Brady, and he has 7. It should be noted that 7 is more than any other franchise. So he not only has more Super Bowl rings than any other player, he has more rings than any other franchise.
Right.
Yeah, and the people, I grew up in the Bay Area, like I mentioned, and the people that still have Joe Montana, I mean, I get it. Joe Montana was great.
Yeah.
But to 3 to 7, it's a different number. 7 is higher than 3. So okay,
Get A-Trap, man. Get A-Trap.
Go ahead. I'm coming to you. Go ahead.
Before I say anything, I was a Brady fan at the first Super Bowl. I am not a non-Brady guy. And I want to say that. But I don't, because I can remember 2 championships that Brady could not have shown up, and they would have still won those games. I don't want to diminish how great Tom Brady is. Tom Brady is a top 5 quarterback to me. I mean, he might even be a top 3. Well, no, he's not. Well, and it's not a knock against him. Not saying you're not, but winning championships does not equate greatness. I am an impact on game kind of guy. Will go to my grave saying Joe, and because I've watched Joe play in 4 Super Bowls and only 4 Super Bowls, but I also watched Joe never have a bad Super Bowl. The only Super Bowl Jerry Rice won, and still be on. And I'm looking at competition, the pressure. Joe just realized Joe had to be with Charles Mann and Dexter Manley, Lawrence Taylor, and Jared. What his name? Leonard Marshall or somebody Marshall. Ted Harris. He had to be Reggie White, Jerome Brown, Clyde Simmons, and Seth Joyner. I just think, and then when you go to the AFC, you got Bruce Smith and Neil Smith and Derek Thompson, and he was getting his brains beat out. I don't respect a lot of the last 5 years of football. I don't respect a lot of the numbers that are being put up, because you have to, if you jump up in the air, they have to wait for you to hit the ground and then tackle you. Joe was playing and win the Super Bowls when if you jumped off, protect yourself. I don't want to diminish anything Tom Brady has accomplished, but, and I'll finish with this, and anybody who wants to challenge me, I'm welcoming it. But if you're gonna tell me Bill Belichick's reputation is scarred due to him cheating, I'm a criminal justice major. The fruit of the poisonous tree.
It's in the roots.
All right. Anybody got a challenge? Challenge.
I think he cut off too.
Yeah.
So if
now you're kind of going fast.
AT&T, man, I'm sorry, AT&T. I got AT&T.
All right, but anybody got to come back. The one thing I'll say though is that he does.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years.
Hey, I just tweet too, man.
Huh?
I just sent you the Honey Badger tweet.
Oh, okay.
Screenshot.
But he's got 5 MVPs from the Super Bowl too. Like that to me is, yeah. And so I think
he didn't deserve that one last night.
Who you think should have got it?
The defense.
The whole defense?
Yeah.
Top both.
talking about. He was all over the field. He had a great impact on the game than Brady. When you got two running backs running for 180 yards, 170 yards, they were having it. You got a running back ran for 5.3 yards a carry. The quarterback get the MVP. Just like, I'll give you another example, just to show people I'm not hating on Brady. When the Colts beat the Bears, Peyton Manning wasn't supposed to get MVP. When the Giants beat the Patriots, Eli wasn't supposed to get MVP. I'm a fair guy.
I hear what you're saying. I mean, and they don't give shared MVPs, and it's Tom Brady. Like it was going to go to him regardless. If he had 4 picks, he would have got the MVP. I mean, it's just somebody Overton Claiborne. Shout out to you. Said TB12 just been on good teams. I mean, that is true. He has been on good teams. He has a stellar coach.
Not a lot of
great team was garbage, though.
Yeah, that team that beat the Rams wasn't that good.
It was trash.
Before Courtney starts talking, I'm also annoyed by this concept of if you don't have Michael Irvin, Randy Moss, Jerry Rice, you don't have good receivers. Because Troy Brown is a good receiver. Deion Branch is a good receiver. We can go chapter, book, and verse of receivers that people outside of circles like this don't know, but they're very good receivers.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. But that to bring that up, you say they're good receivers, they're not like top-notch receivers, but that should bring up Brady's, elevate him a little bit more, that he makes them a little bit better. And you could go with Belichick too, but I think this Super Bowl here kind of says, okay, Brady can win without Belichick, and he did. So I think this, to me, is his most important Super Bowl that he's won.
So if you put this team in New England and with Cam, they don't win?
No. I don't know. Cam's not the same guy no more.
No, I'm with A-Trap on that one, man, because that defense still coming.
Yeah, because you revamp the offensive line. You go get him Fournette. You go get him Gronk. This, and again, this is like I'm diminishing Brady.
Yeah, you got him.
But if I don't know many quality quarterbacks that would know. This is Brad Johnson winning. This is Brad Johnson winning the Raiders.
Yeah.
Come on. You give any quarterback on earth a better offensive line, a better running game, and a top 5 defense. No offense, man. Tony Romo could have won that Super Bowl last night, man.
I don't know about that.
And as much as I like Cam Newton, if he's throwing the ball 10 times, then yeah. If he's throwing the ball 20, 30 times, no.
But Brady didn't throw the ball 20, 30 times. Brady
was 29, 20 for 29.
Down Charlie last night. He was checked down Charlie all night.
That's right.
That's right. That's all he needed to do. 200 yards, 29 times.
Now, one thing I'll say is when it comes to quarterbacks, to me, like a true quarterback doesn't have to have. I agree with you, A-Trap. They don't have to have number 1 receivers. They make their wide receivers. So, like you talk about Julian Edelman, nobody knew who he was. Yeah. You talk about Welker, nobody knew who he was. Like Randy Moss was, if you quote unquote, the biggest name that he had. So I think I'm just talking about quarterbacks in general, not necessarily Tom. But if you can make your wide receivers better, then to me that's a true quarterback right there. If you got to have somebody to say, oh, that's what brought me here, because Godwin, I didn't know who he was before this year. I'm sure he was probably good. I didn't know who he was.
He made the Pro Bowl last year.
Yeah, he had a good year last year. Yeah, real good last year.
I know.
They played Honolulu last year, wherever they played the Super Bowl, the Pro Bowl last. AB, Gronk, again, man, when you bring up points like this, it sounds like you're diminishing Brady.
Yeah.
But last night, this entire season, Brady was game managing. This dude was checking down all night. The touchdowns to Gronk were 6-yard passes, and it was Nobody in the stadium could have touched him after he caught that ball.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, this okay. And then I'll be quiet. When was the last time a top-notch wide receiver won a Super Bowl? Because this guy named Russell Wilson up in Seattle, he was out there with Manny Moore and Jack as well. Brad Johnson, who did he win the Super Bowl with? I mean, Phil Simms, Jim McMahon, the dudes that Eli won 2 Super Bowls with. Nobody was like, hey, man, give us Plastic Hole and we in there. Give us Mario Manningham and we in there. You didn't hear any of those guys' names after those Super Bowls.
Mm.
So I don't want to diminish. See, and then when you bring up stuff like this, it sounds like, oh, man, you're diminishing Brady, because I don't use that clown term, hater, because that's usually by non-sports fans.
Right.
I've been watching football too long, and I rarely see the best receiver at the Super Bowl.
And I mean, you just put it in perspective. I don't think at all that you're.
Points to that. I mean, look at Metcalf. I mean, Metcalf up there with the Seahawks. I mean, he didn't get the ball. He barely got the ball in that game when they were playing. Oh gosh, I can't think of who it was. I think it was the Rams, I thought, but he barely heard his name in that game. Couldn't even get open.
And the thing is, I used to always, and I always used to put Joe Montana at number 1. Always, for a long time, because I seen him play too. Right in the 90s, they were running. They were just dominant, and he always had the stat: 11 touchdowns, no picks in the Super Bowl, 4 Super Bowls. So that right there, I just think when Brady now, for me, Brady's the best quarterback ever. I think he was already that with the 6, but now he's got that 7th, and it's not just like you said, it's not just about the Super Bowl wins. It's the numbers, it's impact, as you said. It's a little bit of everything. I just think now he said he's got more than franchises now. So he's 7-3. That's just my point. But Montana, number 2 on my list. I just got Brady at number
1. And there's nothing wrong with saying that.
Exactly.
I agree. There's nothing wrong with saying that. I can't say, oh, Courtney, you're crazy. I can't do the Stephen A. Smith thing. But I'm just looking at me personally, be Joe, John Elway, Warren Moon, Brady.
Okay.
Because you talk about somebody winning with clowns. That dude in Denver was winning with bozos. Bozo, Cookie, and Wizzo. He was throwing the football to Bozo, Cookie, and Wizzo.
And his best player was throwing
he had about 17 clowns. Mecklenburg, Atwater, Elway, Bozo, Cookie, Wizzo, and the rest of the circus.
Overton Claiborne, TB12 has been rubbing clear on his body. Hey, he got some. I know he got some special TB12 ointment he be using. I know he do. But here's the. Okay.
Let's not forget, Brady was in the Balco conversation. Let's not forget that.
So here's the question. Here's the question before we get out of here. Who can catch Tom? We already talked about Patrick Mahomes. He's got one.
Nobody yet.
Nobody?
Nobody yet.
Nobody.
No.
Because it's not that LeBron, not 2, not 3, not 4. It's not gonna work. Mahomes might get 1 more or 2 more, but it's hard to get 2.
Yeah, it's hard to get back.
Yeah, right.
Ben Roethlisberger, he's about to get out of there. Aaron Rodgers, I can't see him chasing it. I mean,
Breeze is done.
Breeze is gone. I mean, who else is?
This was Aaron Rodgers' year. Like I don't that in that game, I don't get how they just folded. I don't understand that at all.
Super Bowl, right? They should have been in the Super Bowl.
If there was one year that he would have been there, it would have been this year, and they just folded like a lawn chair. So it is what it is.
You've never seen Tom Brady's teams be out-coached.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Oh,
that's true.
And again, man, I think the dude. I'm telling you, this dude who on my show, come in my show all the time, Kirby Alexander. I talked to him, and he Tom Brady. He'll be in the chat room tomorrow chirping. I talked him into being a Tom Brady fan. He told me after the assistant quarterback, I was like, nah, that dude got the goods.
Yep.
Oh, I told you. What? Being at tomorrow, I told you. No, you didn't. I told you. So,
Sucker.
Courtney, I can't repeat anything you're saying, bro. I can't go, oh, Courtney's crazy. But it's just, and it's not, you know, we're the same age, obviously. So it's not, oh, man, get off my line. My era is better than your era. It's just the total picture to me, Joe, John, Warren, Tom.
And I respect that. Like you said, I respect that.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's all based on eras. I mean, that's like when we get into the basketball GOAT conversation, people never bring up Bill Russell. He's got 11 championships. He had to do something for all of those. So, like, we never bring up him. We forget about Kareem. We go straight to Jordan. And that's an era thing. I never watched Bill Russell play. I mean, I've barely seen Kareem play, but I've seen Jordan play. So that's the same thing. The same thing with football. The same thing with sports. Period. And that's what always keeps the conversation going. But great time tonight, man. I'm glad, Courtney. Thank you for coming on tonight. Glad you had time to come in and join with us.
I love this conversations, man. I really do. You know, that's what we do. That's what we always been doing. We debate, we argue, we respect it, and and we all make great points. I love it.
Yeah. So next week, this was a good point brought up by Dawkins. We're gonna do a Valentine's Day show, and we all got different perspectives. We got the married perspective.
You under the table again.
We got the single perspective, and we got the I'm going with somebody perspective. So it should be a good one. But,
interesting.
Wilks, happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Hey, let me add this to it, Ben. Let's do we always do TV shows and movies. The best romantic comedies or like romantic movies and with the Valentine's.
We can do that. I don't know how much input I might have because I try not to watch those at all. But yeah, we can do that too. I'm down with that. Dawkins.
Yeah. This Valentine's Day show, it should be interesting. If you're still out there tuning in, you don't want to miss it. I'm going to explain to you why anybody I date or that's been married to don't expect no Valentine's Day gift from me. You already my Valentine, I'm already yours. So just wait.
Signed off from the start.
Hey, and H-Rap, as always, man.
Man, anytime, man. Like Courtney said, man, I listen to Courtney's show. I don't come in the chat room. I actually hate the chat room, but I listen. And yeah, man, I listen to the shows. Ben send me a show all the time, man. And man, it's fun. Like you said, man, we will be sitting in the backyards of the barbershops doing this, and now we get a chance to be running the world. So I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. Everyone in the comments, Taryn Rodriguez with a funny comment on the way out. He said, I'm gonna pull up with a pizza and a calzone all for myself on the 14th and watch the Daytona 500. So yeah, we'll be back next Monday. Thank you everyone for tuning in. You guys stick around when we close out and so we can talk a little bit. But have a great night, morning, whenever you're watching or tuning in, and we'll be back next week. Peace.